Hi, everyone. This is Jane Foreman, Senior Manager of Sales and Planning for Kikkoman Food Service. I'm joined today by Chef Andrew Hunter, who's joining us from his lab in Southern California. We're here today to talk to you about takeout hacks. I'm going to walk through some trends, and then Andrew is going to demonstrate some real-life examples that can help food service operators with what is going on in today's food service environment. So when we look at consumers, given the current situation with COVID, they're still saying that they're afraid to eat out. Since March, 40% of consumers are saying that they're definitely avoiding eating out. 34% are nervous, and then 27% have no concerns whatsoever. And you can look at this chart here. In terms of eating out, men, Gen Z, and Gen X are more likely to eat out. They're less likely to avoid eating out, whereas women, millennials, and boomers are more likely to avoid eating out in today's environment. When we look at condiments, consumers really are feeling more comfortable with single-use packets. A survey done by Data Essential is saying that 83% of consumers are finding single-serve condiments acceptable now, and post-COVID, 81% of consumers are saying that single-serve condiments are acceptable. And then when dining in, consumers are saying right now they really want condiments offered by request only. That drops a little post-COVID, where 77% want condiments by request only versus having them on the table. When we look at restaurant spend, there's a little bit of good news and bad news. So people are spending less when they're patronizing restaurants, but they're actually utilizing restaurants more. We're just going to focus on these two orange bullet points here. So in October, 26% of consumers were saying that they were ordering from restaurants less often, which that's dropped 12% from April, where 38% of consumers were ordering from restaurants less often. And then if we look at this next orange highlighted line, consumers are ordering carry out more instead of dine in. So they're saving money by avoiding tipping. So 22% are still ordering more takeout. Finally, food boredom has really set in with consumers, and 65% of consumers are saying that they're tired of cooking at home. I know that applies to me. I'm tired of making 3 meals a day for myself. But when consumers are eating out, they really want foods that they wouldn't make at home. So when you look at these top 4 items that consumers are ordering away from home, Japanese, Korean, Hawaiian, and Chinese. And then when you look at American food, only 24% of consumers are ordering that away from home, and 42% are making American food at home, which makes sense because they may not have all of the Asian ingredients at home. One trend we're going to talk about is katsu. If you're not familiar with katsu, it's a Japanese dish made of a thin cutlet of meat, typically poultry or pork, and it's deep fried in panko, served with a tangy katsu sauce. It's typically served with a side dish like rice, soup, and vegetables. It's also very popular in Hawaii. And finally, in mainstream America, the katsu sando is really growing in popularity. And since 2010, it's actually shown 30% growth on menus. Some chain menus have recently menued katsu on their menu. For example, P.F. Chang's had a chicken katsu slider on a bao bun. They don't typically serve sandwiches, but they were using the bao bun as a vehicle to serve the chicken katsu slider. Publix, a grocery store headquartered in Florida, in its deli had a breaded fried chicken breast katsu sandwich. And then finally, Shake Shack had an egg katsu sando. These are just some images from Instagram. Katsu sandos have been very Instagrammable. You see this one's oozing with cheese, the top one on the left. Somebody else is branding the katsu sando. The top right corner is a mortadello katsu sando. And then on the bottom right is actually a foie gras katsu sando. The options are limitless with katsu, whether you're a QSR restaurant or fine dining, there's definitely a place. When we look at breaded chicken sandwiches, they are hot right now. They've grown 1% in menu importance versus last year for the months July, August, September. And as many of you have seen in the news, the chicken sandwich wars are still going on. For example, McDonald's has announced that early 2021, they're going to be launching a new chicken sandwich. Even Taco Bell has launched a chicken sandwich. And then, of course, there's Popeyes and Chick-fil-A that are still gaining popularity. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andrew, and he's going to show us how we can take some of these ideas for your takeout operations.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. So I want to say a couple of things about sort of the chef or the kitchen's perception of the trends that Jane talked about. One of the things that we're learning as restaurateurs is that when a consumer orders takeout now versus 6 or 8 or 9 months ago, they have some different expectations. And one of them is that a lot of times they used to take out and go to the office or maybe to the park or wherever they were going to have lunch. Now they're oftentimes picking up and taking it home. And so they have a kitchen at their disposal. And so that means that they have an oven, they have a microwave, maybe they have a toaster oven. So they have some different capabilities. And one of the biggest enemies of takeout was sending food hot and expecting it to arrive still crunchy and hot and all of the sensory attributes that we expected. So now they're willing to, and in some ways even preferring, to heat or reheat the food that they've purchased, which is good for us. I'm going to show you 2 items. One is a fry toss, and one is the chicken katsu sandwich. The chicken katsu sandwich that I'm going to show you is extremely simple because I think that once you have a concept of an idea, then you can build upon it and make it your own. I really love these Kikkoman sauce packets. I think they're amazing. And one of the things that Kikkoman did really well is you branded them, appropriately for the sauce that they are. And they're not in generic packages. When I see these, I think, wow, this is something special. As a consumer, I think, wow, this is really something special. And then there's no doubt what's inside of here. This one, I think, is an especially great packet, both of these, because they have a front and a back, and the sriracha as well, where you can actually see the sauce. What consumers are telling us is that they prefer this kind of a package versus a cup with a snap-on lid that was obviously packaged in the back of a restaurant. Why? Because of food safety and sanitation. They don't have to worry if the person that was putting the sauce in the cup, was operating healthy and in a clean environment, et cetera, because they trust Kikkoman. Well-placed trust, I might add. Okay, so I think you can still have fun, right? Even in these days when there's trial and tribulation, we can still have fun. So we're gonna do the French fries first, and I have just what you would think of as a pretty typical, relatively eco-friendly package. And I'm gonna put my French fries in here. I happen to love crinkle cut fries. in part because I'm a sauce guy. And sauce loves the crinkles of the fries. And so it's kind of like penne pasta with ridges. So don't overfill it. Have your fries in here and then package them with 2 sauces. And I'll show you why in a second. The other thing that Kikkoman did really well, I think, is made the packages the appropriate size for the sauce inside. Okay, pretty standard, right? Not that big a deal. But now as the consumer, I take them home, and the operator might have some instructions. Put them, they can reheat them, or they can just open the packet and squeeze the sriracha on top, and then squeeze the Thai chili on top. Look at that, all that great sauce equals flavor. Remember, they're at home, so they might even have a bowl that they toss in. But if you pick the right container, it works. Now, shake. You can do that, or you can put them right in the bag and toss them in the bag too. And now, okay, so they're American, it's American food, French fries, but it's tossed with Kikkoman's amazingly delicious Thai chili and sriracha. And the sauce, because of the way it is, it makes a glaze. Oh man, this is so good. I'm telling you. You're giving your customers, Kikkoman is giving its food service customers, who in turn are giving the people that walk through the front door the opportunity to have French fries that taste totally different. Okay, so there's your fries. Put that there. Now, you saw the pictures of katsu, but katsu in the flesh is Japanese milk bread. Hint, Texas toast also works really well. So operators are shy about bringing in new SKUs for all the reasons that you guys well understand. So if they want to offer katsu and they have a white bread, all they do is cut off the crust and they're good to go. Put the chicken, I'm gonna put this one in, it fits a little better. And then I'm gonna put 2 katsu sauces, fold it up. If it's served with a salad, like a cabbage salad, that would go into a separate container. The consumer gets it home. She might put it in the oven to crisp it up. Most consumers don't have a tolerance for deep frying, myself included. So now I just tear it and I drizzle it on the bottom side. So why is this different? It's different because now the sauce is bright. It hasn't been absorbed into the bread, so it doesn't have a muted flavor. And then the traditional way to serve it is to cut it. On top like this. and you have your katsu sando ready to eat. So with that, I'll pass it back to Jane. I wish that we had a forum to ask and answer questions, but we're always available through email or phone, cell, text, etc. And I'd love to interact with the folks in the field. So please don't be shy to give a holler, and we can talk about solutions for specific operators.
Yes. And Andrew, can you talk a little bit about how you breaded the chicken with the tempura and the panko and why you used both?
Absolutely. So at Kikkoman, we have these two amazing products. And I'm a big believer in Kikkoman, but I'm a big believer in these two products and how simple they are to use. This is, as you know, the tempura batter mix. And then this is panko. I really like the gluten-free panko. I think that the regular panko and the toasted panko are great. So we're building on something that's already great. I think this holds its crunch, possibly better and for longer. So I follow the instructions exactly as per the package, which is essentially 50-50. I like to use sparkling water because I think the bubbles help make it lighter, but it's not necessary. So I just mix some of this and put it in a bowl, and this in a bowl, and then I take whatever I'm going to batter in bread, whether it's chicken or a slice of bologna or a pork cutlet or a roasted portobello mushroom. It can be anything that your heart desires or that your imagination allows. Dip it into the tempura mix first. Dip it into the panko and press it down pretty well so that the panko sticks. And then it can either go right into the deep fryer, i.e. breaded to order, or it can be a production step where they line it on a parchment lined sheet pan, and heck, they can do 100 of them or whatever their volume demands, and keep them in the freezer. If they're not going to fry them right away, it's better to keep them in the freezer because the panko ultimately will be crispier, which is the goal, if it goes from the freezer to the fryer.
Great. Thank you. And then just one more point, as Andrew had pointed out earlier, we do have full service sizes of the 3 sauces that Andrew demoed. So if you are doing either outdoor or indoor dining, you wouldn't necessarily have to use the packets for this same concept. So that's all we have today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to your Kikkoman sales rep, and they can follow up with any additional information. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.